Yeah, yeah. Oh, we're live, but who knows where, huh?
I'm still working on my settings.
Oh, well, hopefully we're going to see people talking. Last week we were live. I had a guest. We were live. It was Erica Wilbright, my buddy.
Uh-huh.
We were live, but no one could see it except LinkedIn could see it. But we
So it did
couldn't.
go out to our Facebook group then.
It didn't go to the Facebook group because they'd already changed the rules.
Oh,
I changed the graphic today to let everybody know to look on my wall, but we weren't seeing people talking or anything.
may
So I
work
don't know.
that way this time. But if it does, all you do is you say hello, 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 and see if it works out.
Hello. Yeah, and see it saying nobody, and that's not probably true. Either that or we're doing the same thing we did last week, is we're going to end up recording and it won't be anywhere. But that will sucky. How are we going to know? I'll look on my wall, I guess, huh?
I don't have any idea.
Oh, no, we're live on my wall. Okay. Okay. Well, there we go. I just
So
can't
there.
see people say anything. Oh, there are two people. Okay, here we go. I hate it when they change stuff like that and I can't figure it out.
Yeah, well, I can't figure out the chat tonight either, so it's up to you.
You're on your own, huh? You did two others today?
I did. I had a show at 7 a.m. that was live on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was LinkedIn. It may not have been, but anyway, it was live. And then I had a 1 o'clock show that we were on.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I think I've been on, I haven't counted because I don't want to count. But I think that we're just now getting into the fifth month. I'll bet you I've been on 50 podcasts or shows of some sort
Yeah,
already.
I stopped putting them up on the shuffle cart because somebody complained it was hard to load because we had so many.
I
And that was
believe that.
before you got into it, right? Before I was just doing the ones we all were doing during the launch. So
Right.
that's funny.
So what's going on in Ware, New Hampshire tonight?
Well, we're in New Hampshire. Yeah, the weather's pretty good. We're 60s and 70s right now.
It's
That's
like
not
summer for
bad.
you.
Down in Yonkers, it's always about 10 degrees more.
Oh,
That's only
really?
4 hours and something. Oh, you know what happened? I don't go 95, but I don't know if you know, 95 is the biggest highway. Normally, if I'm leaving New England, I'm on 95 somehow.
Right.
Um, because Ty lives in Yonkers, I end up going on 15, which is called the Merritt Parkway. But 95 today, somebody did something stupid because a big truck blew up or something, and they closed it for a while. And there was a bridge there. My guess would be they were too tall, but it would have had to been something pretty big because 95 is meant for trucks. All the
Mhm.
trucks go there. 15 trucks aren't allowed. It's cars only. So
Hmm.
I wonder what happened. I love it when people do stupid.
It's like when you see videos of trucks that are too tall to clear a bridge and
Oh,
they drive
right.
onto it and it tears everything up.
I only had that 1-ton box truck, but I had the height of it written in marker on the inside over one of the flaps in case I forgot, because I didn't want that to happen to me. I saw somebody take the whole, and those box trucks, once you puncture the weather seal, oh, you're
Mhm.
done. You need a
Yep.
new one
Yep.
because no, you can't ever seal it back up good. Isn't that true with an RV too?
I think so. I really do.
Yeah, once you
I think
puncture
that,
the seal, you're
yeah, I mean, I'm sure they try to repair it because you're talking expensive vehicles, but yeah, I
right.
think it's the same. Somewhere along the lines, I heard this story. I don't know if it's true, but you know what they say. You can't put it online if it's not true. So there. But this was a story about a truck that drove up under a bridge and it was about 3 or 4 inches too tall and got stuck. And
Oh,
and
I know this story.
the emergency responders were showing up, the police were showing up, everybody's trying to figure out what to do. It's backing up traffic, and finally a little kid says, "Why don't you just let some air out of the tires?" And that's what they did, and it worked.
Yeah. Who tells that story? That's a famous story.
I think
That
that's
is
the
a
story I
famous
just told.
Yeah, but it's not usually you. What
Oh,
that
you said
is
who? I thought you
that is
said for me to
in
tell it. I said I just did. What's up with that?
that is right. That is somebody's famous story that's on a cassette tape or something. Because I've heard that 6 million times, and I wonder who I It's got to be something like Les Brown or Zig Ziglar or Jim Rohn or something.
Maybe. I hate that
Maybe.
I was number 6,000,000 though, because I was really
Oh,
going for 5,999,999.
you were thinking you made that score? I don't know. Right, I don't know about that. Right. So I did bring out 3 books today. Did you I told you before, you knew I lived near where Augmentino.
Mhm.
Did you say I think you said you met him or saw
No,
him.
I never met him in person that I can remember, but his books were the first that I started reading especially as far as parables go.
Yeah, because they're parables. This one's a parable too. Secrets for Success and Happiness. It's not my all-time favorite, but I have all of the Augmentino books. This happens to
Yeah,
be the one I grabbed.
yeah.
Yeah. And for those who think you don't have time to read, I don't know how to feel about that. You've got to. I put them in the toilet and make myself read at least a page every time I go in there. Is that wrong? The toilet? What do you want me to say? The
No, I
powder.
did it. Hi, Donna. I finally see
Oh, good.
somebody's
You can
comment
see
here.
somebody. Donna. And Donna's watching on YouTube, so it must be there too. That's awesome.
Yep.
Wait a
I,
minute.
I've,
Yeah.
the way they've changed StreamYard's changed this up, I can't see anything on Facebook. I can't see anything, but I did see Donna's for whatever reason. So
Yeah, and I don't know if we're not seeing the comments on Facebook or yeah, we're having trouble, everybody, just because StreamYard and Facebook are not being nice to each other. I don't know what I don't know. So
yeah.
anyway, Augmentino, yeah, I don't remember where I heard about him even, but I found out about him right around the time he died, so I didn't get to meet him, but he was selling they were selling his house, and it ended up being in Antrim, which is right near me, less than 30 miles. And I didn't know he was dead. I had just read a bunch of his books and and then I was reading I was sitting in the trailer reading the real estate booklet thing because they get them at the store, dreaming about my house. And this had an estate, and it said Augmentino's estate. And then I looked up and found out that he'd already died, but I always wanted to go look at that house. I didn't, but I always wanted to. Yeah, it sounded nice. He had a pond on it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, you could still go look at it even now. You could do what Laurie and I did this last weekend. I
Oh,
have to
what's
tell you,
that?
this is so funny. I was speaking to a group in Fredericksburg, Texas, and it was a group of women in leadership in the insurance industry, and I uh, I spoke for an hour and a half, I guess, and then we went. We had like a 30-minute break, but we needed to be at a wine tasting after that, and they'd given us the address of the wine tasting, and we're driving out in Fredericksburg. Is beautiful. It's rugged Texas hills. It's gorgeous. But the driving out there, I'm following the map on my phone, and I made a turn. I said, I think I turned too early. I think I missed the turn. And Laurie said, well, it looks like the winery's right there. It's probably just another way you can go in. So we drove on around, and there was another car in front of us. We followed it and pulled into the parking lot, got out, and it was this really gorgeous house. And we got out and we walk inside, and we get inside and we're looking through there, and we see out through the back window, the big glass window for whatever they are there, that there's a pool out there and there are people in the pool. And we're noticing people are looking at us kind of funny because we'd walked into this house. And then Laurie turns around, and there's a banner on the wall behind us wishing Bob a happy 87th birthday.
Oh,
And what we had
like who are
done
you?
is we walked in to a house that someone had, it was an Airbnb, so but they had rented the entire house. It was a family reunion, the patriarch's 87th birthday. There was food on the table, not the kind that you'd see in a winery or a restaurant, but potluck kind
So
of
they're
stuff.
like, who are these people?
They were exactly what they were thinking, and they came up, and the guy says, "Can I help you?" And Laurie says, "I don't think this is the winery, is it?" And he says, "No, but you're welcome." And we visited with him a little bit and met the 87-year-old, and and we introduced ourselves. And I looked at Laurie and I looked at the old guy and I said, "This is your dancer for the day." And he says, "There's the table."
Oh, geez.
It was hilarious. And so we visited for a few minutes and we went on down to the wine tasting we were supposed to be at. After the wine tasting was over, we bought a bottle of wine at Laurie. Let's do this. And she did it. And we bought a bottle of wine and we took it back up to
Oh,
that
nice.
house. This time we rang the doorbell and knocked and waited until someone came to the
Oh,
door
that's
and
awesome.
then
Oh,
brought it
that
in
was a good
for the guy
idea.
as a present.
Oh, good on you guys. That was a good idea.
And
Yeah.
it's one of those embarrassing things. And I've done many of those. I literally one time, this is terrible, but it's true. I was in outside sales in the Atlanta, Georgia market. And I was going around an area of Atlanta that was the bypass. I don't know if it's still that way. They may have multiple bypasses now, but it was Interstate 285. It circled Atlanta.
Mhm.
And I was in an area of town listening to the AM radio station, and this was back in the 80s when Ronald Reagan was president. And the news story was saying that Nancy Reagan was in town doing some sort of speech. And I'm in an area and there's hardly any traffic on the bypass.
I get it.
And as I get going along there, I get up close and I see a smoke glass limousine. And I'm thinking, this has got to be her. I'm in the right part of town. This has got to be her. I honk the horn. I give them a thumbs up. And then I get a little closer and I realize in front of that one is a hearse. And
Oh,
I had honked the horn to give it
oh,
a thumbs up to a funeral
oh,
procession. True
oh,
story.
oh. That's wrong, really. That's not.
Oh, I floored it and got the heck out of there. I thought, oh, I have just really embarrassed myself today.
I was looking because there's 12 comments on Facebook, so I'll read them for you, but they're
Okay.
not showing on StreamYard. And when I first hit it, it was playing. I don't know if you could hear it when you were trying to talk. I was like, oh no. Peg's on, and she said, there's 2 people watching. Lisa Williams said, shuffle card. Wow, haven't heard about that in a while. Digital business card, right? Yes. Yeah, I still use the shuffle card. Oh, Dawn's on. So the only one they're showing us is YouTube, evidently.
I think
With
what
the
I
say
think it's a
again?
setting you and I have to change, but I don't know what it
Oh,
is.
yeah, probably. Because it's supposed to show them all.
Hmm.
Right. But Lisa Williams, the digital business card, yes. And I use it actually for way more than that. I used it for the book launch. So said the lady with the blue hair goes to my shuffle card. And also every time we do a community play, the play itself gets its own shuffle card so that I can highlight all the characters, the actors, and have all that information in one place. It's just cheaper than having a website. Haven't tried your Facebook personal page. It is on here. That's what I'm looking at, Dawn. So Maureen DeGregory's on, yay, and
Hey,
Penny Up to Grove's on, and Peg Duchesne, yay, Peg. Peg said, "I saw Og in person once. We should have known Peg would know him."
Peg knows everyone.
Peg knows everyone. He ventured down to Maryland, and I was lucky enough to be there too. Wow. I was watching on LinkedIn and communicating on Facebook, hitting you up from all sides. Oh, and Ty's on. Awesome. Good to see
Ty.
you, Ty. And Peg said party crashers. Oops. Okay. Peg said, and you have his address from your GPS so you can send him a belated birthday card. Okay. Awesome. And let's see, Nita Vaughn's on. Happy Thursday, Lisa and Mr. Jeff. New phone can finally watch again. Yay! Yay!
Yay.
And Teresa Staples is on. Yay! So that it is showing on Facebook. We just can't see it on the screen because that's my fault. It's probably a setting. So, but anyway, Og Mandino's house had, by the way, in one of his books, he described the property, and that's the one in Antrim, and it has a little pond on it. And he talks about a little store down the road that he bought a cement duck at in
Hmm.
one of his stories. And I know that little store. I go by there all the time.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's just it was that yeah, that was just exciting. But I like the parables he writes too.
The
I
first
think
one I ever read was The Greatest Salesman in the
in the
World.
world, yeah, I love that one. I think it gets pigeonholed as a religious book too much because I think that book's good for everybody. I don't think that
Absolutely.
needs to be a religious one. Yeah, Dawn said, "Have you tried your Facebook personal page, Lisa?" I just went on my phone and it is going live there. It's just I don't have the settings right, so we're not seeing the comments, and that's a personal problem. Now, this book is hard to find actually. The Miracle of Motivation, George Shin. He used to own the North Carolina Hornets or something like that, the
Hmm,
basketball team. But
okay.
he also used to own a business college that had a campus in South Carolina. And that's where I got this book. And for years, I actually bought them by the case and sold them when I spoke because I liked it so much.
Yeah,
So if you can find this one, I think Teresa Staples found one of these on eBay or something. So sometimes you can find them. But I love that book. And I got one more. This one I know you know.
I do.
Bob mentioned it on the call on the Zoom yesterday.
Hmm.
So, is this one of your go-tos or?
It's been a long time since I've read it, but yes, I read that
Oh, you re-
probably in the 90s, I guess, something like that.
do you reread any, or you have so many new ones you want to read you don't do that?
I don't go back and read them that much. It depends on what it is. If it's something I need a refresher on, like I probably read How to Win Friends and Influence People 3 or 4 times. I read Think and Grow Rich at least 2 or 3 times. But I'm not one to go back and reread a lot, but I'll go back and highlight and look for notes and things of that nature so can refresh my memory on key points, but not to go back and read the whole thing.
Yeah, Don King said he that's one of his ones that he reads over. I read that one about the same time he read Og Mandino's books.
Hmm.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I think once you find that category, all those books find you. I don't
Right,
know.
right.
But yeah, try to, if you're listening to this and not doing that, you may want to go find that category because those things really have made a difference. And it was the biggest difference, of course, is I figured out it was me
Right.
all along. What man, I hated that. I know this sounds stupid, but I know there's people listening that are either you're there and you know what I'm talking about or you're going to be. But once I really, really realized that where I was because of the decisions I made prior to today, and that it was always my decisions that made my reality what it was today,
Right.
that was a tough pill to swallow, but going forward, I
Yeah.
realized if I made better decisions, I would have better outcomes. But boy, at the beginning, I wanted to blame everybody else just like everybody else does. I wanted to
It's
say,
our
oh,
nature.
yeah, it's like, oh, what do you expect? My family, I came from, poor family, or what do you expect? I live in the trailer park, or what do you expect? You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
actually, now I get offended when someone adds those words after whatever they're saying. Like they'll say something like, "You did real good considering
For
where
a
you started from." Right? I don't or for a woman, yeah. Oh, that really sets me off the deep end, right? But I just want to have done good. End of sentence without having anything on the end of that, you know.
Well, I will be honest with you, and I will tell you every time I have uttered the phrase "direct sales legend Lisa Wilber," I never added she did really well from somebody who came from a trailer park.
Right, right. Even my mother used to do that though. She'd say always drag up about compared to what she started with. But I guess it should be something I'm happy about, but I just wanted to do well without having crawled out of a ditch somewhere. You know what I mean? I just wanted to do well no matter what, either way.
Yeah.
I don't want to be known for the hole I dragged myself out of, I guess. I don't
That's like when they tell me for a short guy I'm not very tall. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Don said about the same time I read The Magic of Thinking Big. See you at the top, Zig Ziglar.
Yep.
Yes,
Magic
yeah.
Magic of Thinking Big was one of my early ones. David Schwartz. He He taught at Emory University there in Atlanta, and when I read the book, I was living in that area, actually. It was in the 80s. A good friend of mine, good sales mentor of mine, a guy named Bill Ross, was instrumental in getting me to read more. And that was one of the first books. He's the one who got me to reading Think and Grow Rich and some others. But here's why that's so important. If people aren't reading now, you're going to be the same person 5 years from now that you are today, with the exception of the books you read, the recordings you listen to, and the people you hang out with. So if you want to grow your income, grow your business, grow as a person, then you've got to take steps to make that happen. And you read them, and then you figure out what lessons you can apply in your scenario, and then you go do it. That I've said this multiple times, but Endless Referrals by Bob Berg and John Maxwell's 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. The investment of those books probably wasn't $50, but the investment in those books made me a fortune. And in my case, they were given to me by a mentor, guy you and I were talking about before we came on
Great
tonight.
Dave, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And, but good grief. If I
And
hadn't
just
been willing
one
to read
thing.
those and apply what I
Yeah,
was learning, nothing would have changed in my career. I would have still be a okay district manager with Aflac. So,
and just one thing or
mhm.
one idea or one can change everything going forward. And I don't think enough people realize that you've got to read and see a bunch of different stuff before that one thing floats to the top for you.
Right.
It's
Right.
not just going to be, well, can I just hear the one thing and not have to listen to all the rest of it? Wouldn't that be awesome?
Good luck with that.
Yeah. So for me, I think it was like during Lead the Field, the Earl Nightingale thing. I got that as a gift when I was briefly working for Fuller Brush. Yeah, they don't like people
Mhm.
that had a mind of their own, which it was never
Uh-oh,
gonna
that
work.
that messed you up immediately, didn't it? That you
Yeah, yeah, that was. So, but I got that tape. It was a cassette tape set from her and listened to it over and over and over and over. And one of the stories was that one about the gas station where the guy was instead of looking for something else to make him rich, he already owned a gas station. So he's thinking, well, you know what? They're standing around with their hands in their pockets pumping gas. If there was other stuff to buy that they needed, they'd probably spend money here. And that's
Yep.
where they came up with the convenience store idea. That was Stu Leonard, wasn't it? Or
I don't
no, he
know.
was the Stu Leonard one was about the dairy, where you go in the and watch the dairy process, and he built a store around it.
Mhm.
Trying to, yeah. So, but anyway, the gas station thing. So when it came to me having to do Avon full time, I thought, well, maybe I'm the gas station. Maybe there's a bunch of different ways I can earn money doing this, including the ways that everyone else is doing, like selling products and building a team. But also, there's other ways I could make it work, like speaking and charging and writing books and charging for that. And so I built mine based on that gas station story. And if I hadn't heard that, I probably would be chasing down a million different things without having the one, the oak tree of life in the middle, which is Avon
Right.
for me. That middle thing, I built everything around it. So
The whole idea of a convenience store also illustrates a point. People will pay and exchange their money for whatever they find valuable. And it might not be the best price, and it might be the fact that it's convenient, like in a convenience store.
yeah,
I remember the first convenience store that I ever saw open. If I remember correctly, it was a 7-Eleven, but it was something like that. And they weren't very popular at that time, but they had the gas station out front, and they started having food inside, and they were charging so much more than the grocery stores would. And
yeah.
I remember my mother saying, "That'll never fly. People won't do that. It's way more money than the grocery store." And yet, convenience stores are a huge business
Yeah.
because to the people that are there at the time, it's not so much the value they're paying for what they're buying. They're willing to do that for the experience of this is convenient. I don't have to go to the store now.
Well, talking of that, this is what I wanted to talk about for our 10-minute thing. We got 6 minutes left. So it's solving problems when you see a sticking point in your own business. So
Right.
one of the ones, an example is I have a customer pickup shed Yeah, I live out in the woods. Yeah, that sounds not very glamorous, but it works. But anyway, every time I'd give that out, the customers to come pick up, I've actually got 2 sheds on my property, and I would see them going to the wrong one, even though I said it's over by the mailbox and all this stuff. So what I did to fix that sticking point, which you call them a collision point, right? To fix
Right.
that collision point is I went to Google Earth, took a snapshot of my property, and then I put a big white arrow pointing to the shed that has the stuff in it. And when I have a customer, like I got a customer coming tomorrow, I text him the picture from Google Earth so he knows exactly what he's looking at
Perfect.
and he doesn't go to the wrong shed anymore. So I try when I have a sticking point come up to think to myself, well, how can I solve this not just for this guy, but going forward as a
Right.
regular course of business? And I always text that picture now. That's something I do on the as a normal part. So do you want to go over about the collision point thing?
Well, a lot of marketing efforts, when they're trying to teach, when you're trying to teach a company how to make their more sales happen, make the process better. One of the things that everyone coaches about is finding those points that create friction and the sticking points, like what you just said there. Because if someone has to click through a website 5 clicks to do something, the more clicks that you have to do, the more people drop off and they don't continue, because each of those points creates a little bit of friction. And the same thing in the collision points process. As I teach companies and groups about fusion points and about how to create those experiences that have generate a positive emotional reaction in your brain, connecting with the logic of what you're trying to accomplish at the time, the decision that results from that is a yes. It's moving forward. People are comfortable. It's a process that makes it's a win-win situation, because you're helping them get what they want. At the same time, you're doing it in such a way that creates a really good experience for them. But each of those sticking points or those friction points, it's a little bit of a negative emotion that's generated in the brain. And I went through one today. I was working on something, couldn't get the darn thing to work right on my computer. And every time I would try, it became, because of multiple attempts and it's still not working, it became a collision point for me. And I won't say that I said dirty words to my computer. I won't say that out loud, but
I said dirty words to me.
yeah, but when a negative emotional response happens and that combines with the logic of what you're trying to do, then unless you have no other choice, you say, "Oh, heck no, I'm going a different direction with this." In my
Right.
case today, I had no other choice. I had to suffer through it and get it right. Actually, I did.
Yeah,
Lori
I
volunteered and she
recently
started working on it for me.
Yeah, I recently added a bunch of different types of collection of payment. One was because I think it was Venmo, right? And then Zelle, Venmo, and Cash App. I recently added those to my repertoire. I'd only been doing PayPal, Square, and Cash.
Right,
And I recently added the others because customers would say, well, I only do Venmo or I only do Cash App or whatever they say.
right.
So they're free to sign up for. To
Mhm.
me, it was an easy way to cater to the customer.
Plus, with,
Yeah.
with services like that too, like Zelle and with Venmo and probably Cash App, I'm not as familiar with that one. They don't charge you a fee as the person who's getting paid. They don't, where Square I know does, because I use Square, and I
Yeah.
have to pay a fee every time somebody buys a book or whatever. And so it's a smoother, it's a much less friction oriented process for your customer, but also for you as well.
Yeah, because there's no the fee. Don wrote something funny. You could invest in a paint job, one shed painted with "It's the other one," and the right shed painted, "This is the one." The only thing is, I've got products in there. I don't want people going in and taking them. It'd be like, "Steal here. This is the place." But I think that is funny. Although, I don't know. I came up with the text thing because uh, for some reason, deliveries, this is an ongoing joke in our town, so I don't know if it's everywhere or just here, but, there's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 6 doors in my house, 6 doors. They pick the door that has no stairs to it. They'll leave boxes they'll leave boxes at this door that's hard to get to, has no stairs to it, and ignore the other 6 doors or 5 doors.
If I remember correctly, when you got your first shipment of blue hair, author copies of the
It
blue
was over.
hair,
It was
I believe they did the same thing to you that day.
Yeah, and it's funny, so the point of me saying that is I had a big sign on that door that said, "This no deliveries at this store," and the box was right underneath it, so I'm not sure "This is not the shed" would even work. "This is not
Well,
the right shed," 'cause I don't
well,
know, signs don't always, I guess,
well,
do it.
Don just wrote you could have put, "How about no,
No doubt.
dummy?" And
Well,
then Don, you're from Tennessee, I'm from Georgia, and even though Lisa's a Yankee, she's got the same mindset as we do, and you just don't say stuff like that. What you would do is say, "No," and then in italics, "Bless your heart."
bless your heart, yeah, or I mean that in the best
I
possible
mean that in the
way.
best possible
Yeah.
way.
So, out of frustration, one time I did make the sign that said, "This is not a entrance," and it said, I put in parentheses underneath, "I can't believe I had to make this sign since there's no stairs to this door." And still, they left boxes there. I don't even bother now. I just hunt look at the picture 'cause the that is the other companies like Amazon had a friction point of, "We don't know where our package is," and now the drivers take pictures where they left it,
Right, they do
and
that here
that's
too.
yeah, that's gold for me because I got 6 doors. If it just says, "We left it at your house," I'm outside hunting, where
Yep.
this way I could look at the picture and go, "Oh, yeah, I know which door that is."
I tell you what, love Amazon or hate Amazon, they've got some things figured out that we've literally ordered things that got here the same like we ordered that morning and it's here that day. And,
Mm,
granted, we're in Spring, Texas, is where we're spending most of the time right now rather than down at the ranch. But, we are close to the Amazon distribution center or whatever. But they do that, they take a picture, and then in both the email and the text confirmation, I've got the picture. So it's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, Don said, in your channel your Wars voice, "This is not the shed you're looking for."
This is not the shed you're looking for.
Yeah,
Don,
like,
Don, you're in rare form tonight. Are you drinking?
he can be in rare
I don't know
form.
if you are or not. I don't. I
He
can't
wants
count
to
past
join
one.
you. Well, it's already 7:30.
Well, cool.
I hope everybody got inspired to go grab a book because, believe it or not, I mean, for both of us, that has been the constant.
Yep.
That has been
And,
something we've had in common is our our stories had books in them like that
yep.
all
And
along the way.
if the idea of reading a book seems a little bit daunting, if it's not what you've been doing, start off by reading pages. Don't worry about reading book. Read pages. Take your highlighter and see if there's anything in there that you want to get something from. Now, if it's just an enjoyable book, then you don't have to do that. But if it's a book where you're really trying to become better at who you are and what you're doing, take a highlighter with you, read some things in there. Or if you're listening on audiobook, keep your notebook handy. Just take a few notes, but think about pages rather than the entire book. And start at 15 minutes every day. If you'll read 15 minutes every day for a year, you think about that. I'm not going to try the math, but I know it's 365 divided by 4, whatever that is.
Oh, come on,
But you
Rain Man.
but, you put in 80 hours worth of reading in a year, you're gonna get
Oh,
several
you would
books completed.
revolutionize your business. When
Oh, yeah.
someone told me that you read 15 hours I mean 15 minutes a day over a year, you'd revolutionize your business and your life. They weren't kidding. And when
Right.
I heard that, I like, well, I'm doing that. Yeah,
Yeah.
because that made perfect sense. And if you want to start with something easy, that's a nice story. You could read Said the Lady with the Blue Hair.
There you go.
Well, I will let you go, sir, and I appreciate you always taking time to meet with us.
Oh, I got
Thank you, buddy.
I didn't tell him about changing my name, but when I got going backstage a minute ago, I originally had this Jeff loving my Avon ladies West, And then I realized, well, that sounds kind of sexist because we got guys that do Avon, like Scott. So I changed it. My
I'm
Avon
not
Pete.
sure if Scott's on. He probably is. I'm gonna go look. All the comments we saw were from YouTube, so I'm gonna go back into Facebook and LinkedIn and answer some comments now. So I'll see your comments, everybody.
Y'all
Thank
take
you very
care.
much for joining us. I appreciate it. Yay! Oh,
Bye,
I'm doing a new
everybody.
thing. I do. Yeah, like
It's
like
like
mind
you're doing
blown.
magic tricks. You're like David Copperfield.
Yes, I am. Oh goodness
Bye, everybody.
gracious.